Hello everyone, it's Emmanuel Cooke. Today we will be reacting to a new video, and I hope that you guys enjoy the video.
The American dream is dead. It is over, gone and forgotten. Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That's not the goal, guys. That should not be our standard. I am so fucking tired of people being complacent with this uniparty, both of them fucking us over. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. Who the fuck can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now, but I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 fucking billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks. We have fucking lost it.
So this is a heartfelt confession from a millennial man that's approaching his 40s. The American dream is completely shattered. I have no home ownership. I'm drowning in debt, working 60 plus hours a week, plus doing side hustles just to get by. My question is, when does it get better? Because I feel betrayed right now. I feel betrayed by my parents and my grandparents that told me that if I work hard, if I do well in school, if I get into a good college and I get a great trade, I have access to the American dream. That doesn't seem likely right now. So I just want to know, when does it get better? Tell me, when?
Do you think that the American dream is dead?
We cannot use the same playbook our parents gave us to live life today, right? We've been told this American dream. You work hard, you study good, you go to college, you get a good job, you climb the corporate ladder, and you will be able to buy that white picket fence home, go on 2 vacations a year, and have your 2 kids and a golden retriever. It doesn't work like that anymore. You cannot save your way to rich unless you are making upwards of $500,000 a year. You cannot get there through saving.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live?
I know he kind of answered the question himself in his own video, but I want to highlight one thing he briefly mentioned and talk about it, which is that the American dream is dead. Yes, the traditional American dream, which is like doing better than your parents and being able to provide a lot for your family, is dead, or at least it's changed. Because there are many of us that are well aware that we will never be able to make as much money as our parents did. And I think my mother, who is a boomer and benefited directly from the system in place, said it best when she once said, roughly, that the American dream has changed. It's become very apparent to everyone that in this economy, Gen Z, millennials, and some Gen Xers, many of us will not be able to do better than our parents. We won't even be able to do as well as our parents. And now the American dream has become just being able to get by, being able to maybe afford a house at some point, maybe have a kid or 2 if we're lucky enough to make that much money. And a lot of us, myself included, who has now experienced company like financial related layoffs twice so far in the last 2 years since I've entered the job market. You know, those of us who feel like we're constantly in fight or flight about bills and how we're going to keep making it by, It's making us miserable and feel so hopeless. And yes, I could sit here all day and show you graphs of how like inflation is going up, and while wages are going up, it's just not matching inflation. So it feels like we're all just constantly working and working, and the goalpost just keeps getting moved further and further away from us. And yeah, it has a lot of us extremely stressed and worried and feel like just giving up, because we're constantly running a race where the finish line is getting moved further out. And I think it's obvious that we're all just really exhausted by it now. I know I am. I'm constantly hitting a wall with all of this. And a lot of us have to wake up every day blatantly knowing we will never do as well as our parents did. And we just have to try to make it, somewhat close to that. I'm sorry. My dad passed away several years ago on this date. So I'm just thinking about him, and sometimes I feel like he'd be proud of me, but sometimes I feel like he'd be very disappointed. But he was also an extremely intelligent businessman with multiple degrees, so I think he, more than anyone, would really understand what we're all feeling right now.
This housing market has gotten really exhausting. If you're anything like me, you've made all the right moves in life so that you can get something like this right about now. You and your significant other have been together for a long time, and it's time to make that next step and get a place together. You'll get a place that's big enough for your family to come stay, to get a dog, you can raise your first kid here, but something just isn't right. It's these ridiculous prices. Now, $330,000 for this home doesn't seem so bad, but wait till I show you what's going on. This home that sold not that long ago at $330,000 a year in 2018 sold for $180,000. In 6 years, this home has near doubled in price. So what was once affordable has become out of reach for way too many people. At $330,000 with a 5% down payment, a 7% interest rate, and an assessed value at $256,000. Now I have to stop here because this is criminal. Way that homes have increased in time over the last few years has been one of the weirdest spikes in home prices we've seen in modern history. When this home sold in 2018 for $180,000, it was assessed at $156,000. When now it's getting assessed at $248,000. Now obviously tax assessments are going to go up, but something about this one just feels wrong when homes are being inflated the way that they are. But back to our example, this home that sold at $330,000 this year is assessed at $256,000, which means your property tax bill in this neighborhood is going to be $10,000, putting your total payment at $3,000. Now back in 2018, which mind you was only 6 years ago, at $180,000 a year with a 5% down payment and a 4.5% interest rate, at a tax assessment of $156,000, your tax bill is only going to be $6,300, which means that 6 years ago, you would have had a payment of $1,555. So if you're anything like me, you've taken your budget, you've put the numbers in, and the numbers just don't add up. No matter how much I fiddle with this number, trying to get $3,000 to work by reducing expenses, doing whatever, it just doesn't add up. $3,000 and $1,500 are so drastically different, almost half the price. So I feel your pain. We're in this together. Hopefully things will change, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Rates are supposed to drop this summer, but we'll see. Like, follow, comment. I'll keep you updated. And if you want that budget, you can check it out using the link in my bio.
The American dream is dead. The American dream is a national ethos of America that states that every American has an equal opportunity to attain a successful and better life. Basically saying that if you came from nothing, if you work super, super hard, you will be able to attain a nice house, a nice car, a nice family, a nice life. And that's just not true anymore. If you want actual food, like, fruits, vegetables, things that you should be eating, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. And if you eat the stuff that's being advertised to you and the stuff that's cheaper for you, you're going to be fat. And then you're going to have diabetes and you're going to have high blood pressure and you're going to need to go to the doctor. But you're going to have to pay a lot of money for that. And if you don't have a lot of money, good luck. I live in Spain, and here in Europe, healthcare is free. And also, the cheaper foods are the healthy foods. Like, I went to the grocery just now, and all my fruits and vegetables and food for the entire week was $25. In America, only 6% of Americans actually trust in Congress. Now, let's say you did come from poverty and you do want to work really hard to succeed. You're going to need a good quality education, and you're not going to get that unless you don't pay a lot of money. Here in Europe, they think it is absurd, like the concept that we have to pay for our education. Also, if you want to get anywhere, you're not going to be able to walk. You're going to have to get a car because public transportation sucks in America. It's so unreliable. It's so unsafe. In fact, people are now saying the American dream is just to leave America. And then we're brainwashed from an early age, and don't get mad at me for saying we're brainwashed, because we all think America is the greatest country in the world whenever we're growing up. Because we do have a massive influence on all media. America controls the world media. And nowadays, you can work super, super hard and you still can't afford rent. You still can't afford to buy a house. You still have to pay off all your student loans and can barely break even. It's just not a good system anymore. And you know who does have a good system? Europe. They're killing it over here. A lot of good things. And yeah, America is still great. I still love being American. I'm proud of being American. But there are a lot of stuff that we could fix. Also, I'm Katie. I'm American. I live in Spain. I do a lot of videos on living abroad, traveling abroad. So if you're interested, you should follow me. Thank you.
Say goodbye to your American dream, because what was a slow and steady marathon for private equity to...
The American dream our parents knew is absolutely dead. That study showed that in 2023, private equity firms purchased 44% of single-family homes in America. That picture-perfect American dream that every boomer had for themselves in the 1980s is absolutely dead, and it's not coming back. The nature of the American dream has changed and pivoted since the founding of this country. It has not always looked like the corporate job with 2 SUVs and retirement. The new American dream is going to be buying farmland with a loan, with 0% down programs in many cases, and starting your own commune from the ground up. I just did this. I just got a loan with Farm Credit East to buy almost 7 acres of zoned agricultural land in upstate New York this summer that I'm currently having a barn built on. I had no idea that these people existed. I had no idea it was a nationwide network, a bank that essentially finances anything to do with agriculture, and they never once asked for a business plan from me. And they have so many different programs under their brand. And in case you can't put 20% down on a loan, there's the good old USDA website that does have 0% down programs for low-income, minority, and veteran applicants. And they also have grants. And I only know all of this because I had to research all of it only 6 months ago to get my own land. By using a loan, it was able to free up my capital to now put a structure on it that I could live in if I want to, but more importantly, I can work out of to make money and grow my own food that I can use in my own closed loop on my land I just purchased. The new American dream is going to look like leaving the city so that you can actually own something. You don't have to rent your apartment for the rest of your life. It's going to look like getting a loan for zoned agricultural land, of which there is plenty in this country if you go on Zillow, and I'm happy to do a video about how I find agricultural land. It's not hard. It's getting a loan, pooling funds with friends and family to start setting up the compound that you're going to live on, you're going to work on, that's going to grow all of your food. Essentially, it's going back to the 1800s, but with our modern technology today. Throw solar if you want on it. You can go off grid. Use Starlink to get Wi-Fi out in the middle of nowhere. These are all options, and I think they are going to become the norm in the coming years, which is why with the current system crumbling, it seems so terrifying. So if you're a millennial, please do not give up ownership of real estate in your lifetime. Instead of looking at these single family homes, maybe it's time to look at the zoned agricultural land sitting all around our country.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over
There is no more middle class. This has to do with the wealth disparity in America, which if you want to make a political thing, you're more than welcome to make it a political. The 1% of America owns $47.44 trillion. The equivalency would be if I go to spend $1 at the Dollar Tree and I go, fuck it, it's $1. That's how they view $400,000. So we're supposed to go to college, right? And then we have to take a loan out for college, and then no one teaches you about interest rates, so that's fine. So we're stuck paying those for 20 years. And then we work really, really hard, and then we go, well, I'm going to go buy a house. But JK, because 27% of single family homes are owned by investors. How is that allowed? Then we have inflation, and inflation is supposed to decrease spend, okay? So inflation rose last year 7%. And if your boss didn't give you a 7% raise, then you actually lost money. The American dream, as we were told from when we were kids, is dead. And now we're building our idea of what the American dream is. And I can assure you, it's not working our lives away until one day we maybe retire and can enjoy our lives. Making rich people richer is not what gets us going anymore.
Listen, if you still want to come to America because you believe in the American dream, let me tell you something. That dream died like 30 plus years ago, and now we're living in a dream that involves paying $10 for a dozen of shitty fucking eggs, paying $2,000 a month for an apartment in the ghetto that's about 700 square feet and it has no walls. And then if you want to go to university here, you're looking at around $100,000 for a 4-year education. That's on the low end. But in those 4 years, You might get shot because everyone seems to want to shoot each other for some ungodly reason. Then you're gonna graduate thinking, oh, I graduated, I have a degree now, I'm gonna get a good job. Your good job is gonna pay you about $40,000 starting off, maybe, and then they're gonna say you're gonna work 40 hours a week. When in reality, you're gonna be working about 50 plus hours a week because they're gonna guilt trip you in by saying, we're a family, we're a team, we help each other. And they're not going to pay you overtime for that, because why would they? If they get your help for free, why would they pay you for that? Okay? Then there's no work-life balance. That company you're working for now doesn't want to give you vacation days until like maybe your second year working there. And those vacation days are maybe 4 days out of the whole entire year. That includes holidays. All right? Then if you're sick, too bad, you still have to come to work. Okay? Then if you want to buy groceries, your groceries are going to be your whole entire paycheck because no one can afford to eat here anymore. Got it? I go to the grocery store for 4 things. It's like $50. I'm just saying it sucks living here. I don't want to live here. I want to leave. So maybe you should rethink your whole American dream, because it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Okay? Okay, love you. Bye.
That is it for today. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and like, comment, and subscribe down below, and see you in the next video.